Well, that was pretty grim. We looked like a side that hadn't really played together, even though there's promising results against Southend and Crawley on Tuesday. But I don't know, we just didn't look like, I reckon we were playing till midnight, we still wouldn't score. Did it Hull weren't really anything special. In the last 6 months, I reckon we played that game again, I think it'll be a bit different. I think they just managed the game far more better than us, and that showed with the different age gaps in amongst the two teams and experience. Just grim. Our best moment probably was the Akindi chance in that first half, which was a powder puff effort. Let's be honest, I think if he absolutely wellies it anywhere, it's in, it's a goal. But yeah, elected just to pass it into the keeper's hands. That might have turned the course of the game. So soon after they scored, which was a really sloppy goal, I thought Trey Coyle put in a nonsense challenge. It was pathetic. And we just looked at 6s and 7s again, defensively. Best 3 players. The ref, well, he had a quite good game. I don't know, McHomer looks okay. Don't think he made any mistakes. Pretty solid. Same for Ogilvie. I'm struggling. I thought Olivia did okay when he came on, actually. He did a lot of good flick-ons, won a lot of battles, but if he was up against a different type of strike partner, that might have worked off, might have paid off for us. But him and Akindi, it's not really a partnership. You can't have 2 big lumps like that working together. That really was about it. It just was painful. Yeah, it was poor. Man of the match, I think I'd have to give it to McHomer now. Simply on the basis that didn't really do anything wrong, but wasn't amazing. I just think we're short. Definitely need a striker or 2, probably 2. On the basis Brander's now gone. Probably need something that left side. We don't look like we've got much balance out there, so we need some sort of left-sided player. I think that's the bare 3 we need. Perhaps another 4th, but I'm not sure where that would be. You know, it's just frustrating. Even Willock came on. Thought, you know, good opportunity for him. I think I only remember him touching the ball about 3 or 4 times. We just didn't keep hold of possession. Didn't get hold of possession in midfield at all day long. It was big lumps up forward to the front 1 or 2 in the second half, and neither. I thought Olivia did his best with flick-ons that, but you know, Kindy's got to keep the ball. He's got to hold the ball up for us, and he never seems to do it. He's either looking for a flick-on, which doesn't seem to pay off, or it just bounces off him. I think, you know, he could be on borrowed time already. I know that sounds stupid saying 1 game into the season, but you look back at what he was like pre-lockdown. I didn't see a lot then. And Evans, I can see, if we don't see much out of him, getting in other players, I think I can see Akindi moving on come January, in all honesty. Just brutal. Felt Mackenzie did okay as a fullback, but he never got forward. We lacked any cut and thrust from either fullback, which would have helped maybe, but mainly because we never got the ball down in midfield. Yeah, rubbish really. Could have been a 0-0, but Hull just managed the game better than us and had a couple of chances and took them. Simple as that. Hopefully we'll see better on Tuesday, and hopefully definitely next week against Wigan. Up the Gills, I guess.
Yeah, the game's done now. To be honest, I expected a lot better from Gillingham. A really poor performance. To lose, he's never good to lose the opening game at all. Don't get me wrong, Hull are a good team. They played well. They controlled most of the game really. Decent game management from them. Really, we never really had many clear-cut chances. To concede an early goal within the first 5 minutes, like it's probably the worst way to start a season. I think from then on we just never really got into the game. We never had really many clear-cut chances. There was no real time in the game where we was on top. Really, I wouldn't say there was no time where we was dominant and really creating chances. Like, we just weren't at the races at all. It just simply just wasn't our day. But Hull were probably the deserved winners. They deserved to. I could only think of players like Jordan Graham was really the only player trying to create chances for us. Carl Dempsey was trying to create chances, but it's just we showed nothing up front. There was nothing up front to. I suppose when you play two strikers that are very similar to each other in Verdane Oliver and John Akinde, and should lumping the ball up to them, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to do very well. And we just had no plan. We had no plan. The defence was all over the place. It was rubbish. That's the thing. Our defence is so inexperienced, and leaving Jack Tucker on the bench, who played a lot of games last year, very very comfortable and used to it. Then playing Medley and Magoma, who are two inexperienced centre backs together. Just didn't work well. It was just poor. It made it very easy for Hull. I think we lack such creativity in anything up front. There's nothing to show that we ever look like scoring. We never looked like scoring. We could have gone on for another. We could have played another hour, another whole game, and I still wouldn't think we would have scored. It was just nothing from Gillingham. Just a really, really poor performance. I don't think anyone could really take anything from that game, any positives. I think a lot within the next week definitely needs to strengthen, hopefully, in the squad, bring a striker in, definitely, something different to what we already have. But just a really poor game. If I was going to pick a top three players, I thought Jordan Graham was probably the best player for Gillingham. I'd probably give him man of the match. Tried to create chances. He was on the ball a lot. I thought Dempsey played well. He tried, and for the last one, I thought it's a thing because I thought Mackenzie played all right, but there was some time where he was very poor in some ways. I thought O'Keefe tried, but it just wasn't Gillingham's day really at all. Hopefully, massive improvement needed for next week. That's for sure.
So a disappointing start to the season for Gills, and if we're being totally honest, it's nothing more than we deserved. We started the game awfully, and in reality, it didn't get an awful lot better for the rest of the game. To be honest, a team that last season prided itself on being really, really strong defensively concedes a really poor goal just 2 or 3 minutes in. Trey Coyle gets done in behind far too easily down the right hand side as Hull were looking at it, and then the ball comes into the area and the initial strike isn't a clean one, but again there's no one really there to try and stop it, and then he's miscued effort just falls to another player in orange and he taps it home completely unmarked from a couple of yards, and then all of a sudden we're 1-0 down 3 minutes into the new league campaign and we're chasing the game, and we responded quite well initially. We went straight up the other end. John Akinde went clean through and probably should score. The angle's narrowing on him a little bit, but you'd expect him to put it away from there. But other than that, a chance 5 minutes in, we didn't look like scoring for the rest of the game. We didn't even create an opening, and Evans has said that he still wants a couple more forwards, and I think we can see, and it's not massively surprising that we do still look a little bit light in terms of goals and chances because it was the theme last season. But what was really disappointing is how poor we looked at the back. We looked shaky for large parts, to be honest, and it was just basic errors. Bonham distribution a couple of times all over the place. Medley a couple of times got caught on the ball as if sort of he's still adjusting to the level, and you know, at under 23s football, you might have that extra time on the ball, whereas at this level, if you take one too many touches, someone will nick it off you, and we almost got caught out a couple of times with that. But in the second half, obviously we had the two big men up top, and we just resorted to going long far too quickly, far too easily, and I felt a little bit sorry for Robertson and Willock, who come on in the second period, because they didn't really get much of a chance to really get on the ball and show what they could do, as we just went long all the time, and yeah, in the end, it was a really disappointing showing. In terms of a man of the match, it's an incredibly tough choice. And it's not for good reasons either. I don't think anyone played particularly well. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Robin McKenzie was the best of a bad bunch, in my opinion. But even then, wasn't overly impressed. But I'm not going to sit here and be all doom and gloom. It's the first game of the season. The first game doesn't define a season. And we started slowly last season, so it's not like we haven't done it before. But yeah, there are lessons to learn from today, and we will have to improve quickly, and we do still need a couple of bodies in before the window closes in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I fully believe that Evans would have took a lot out of today's game and the result and the performance, and he'll look to put it right, not just for Tuesday against Coventry, but going into the next week's league game as well, as we look to bounce back and get the first 3 points on the board. Because if we play like we did today, the first win might be a little while coming.
Welcome back to Proper Football Gills fans. We've had our week in the Cups, but today was the big day for us, what we've all been looking forward to since the fixtures were announced, and for what should have been, for me, quite an exciting game. It didn't quite turn out like that. I don't think either team were really that much better than the other. Hull took a couple of chances. We had maybe a couple of scrappy chances that didn't end up in the net. Maybe on another day they would. Probably the 58th minute free kick swung in by Graham could have ended up better. It caused a little bit of chaos, but came to a corner, which then caused a few more problems. But the ball didn't end up in the back of the net. And the build-up of excitement that I'd had since the fixtures came out were quickly put on the dampeners, put on the back burners from the 3rd minute when they got their first goal. So it was not the best start to the season. I would say it'd be tough to pick out a few players above other players who had decent games. I'm not saying loads had terrible games, but I don't think many had exceptional games. There's times when Akindi in the first half looked a little bit isolated. But the one thing I will say about today, apart from, I did think Graham looked dangerous at times, but I know we're going to see games where he's going to be more dangerous than he was today. But the moment for me was just after half time, on the 46th minute, from a young lad, 19 years old. He's come to the club 2 days ago from Scotland. You'd think he hasn't had time to settle in. He come on with so much confidence. The first thing he tried was to ping a ball over the top, which in the end came to nothing. But it was the intent for me. It showed the confidence within him. And then after that, although he didn't again do anything exceptional, he showed his intent and glimpses of what we are probably going to see throughout the season. He tried some little tricks, he looked composed, and he just looked really confident for me. So I'm actually, on his debut, going to give my man of the match to Scott Robertson. And I think we should probably not let today's result cloud our judgment on how the season's going to go. It is going to get better than that. I think sometimes these first games can be a bit of a cup tie rather than a league fixture. Everyone's fresh, everyone's buzzing to get out of there, the fans are all hyped up. It's like a totally different atmosphere to most of the games throughout the season. And although it was a little bit different this year, for obvious reasons, I also think that maybe, I know it's the same for both teams, but we didn't have that Raynham end sucking the ball in them situations where things got a bit chaotic from balls thrown into the box. sometimes crowds can cause panic in defenders and things drop differently, you never know, but that's just one thing we'll never know, I guess. I guess now we just look forward to Wigan away and hope to get something there. Myself, I know they've got problems. I'd be happy with a draw out of that one. Just settle us a little bit, take something from the game, and then really kick on after that. Good to be back though, not in the best of circumstances, not the best of results, but for those of you who've seen me on Twitter, you know I'm a fan of Steve Evans. I've got every confidence in him. The man gets results, and I'm pretty sure he is and has been putting together this squad that he thinks will be good enough to challenge. And yeah, I'm not going to let this one result put a dampener on my feelings for the season. Look forward to the next game.
So the game's just finished, and my initial reaction from the game is it can only get better. Overall, I thought defensively we started very, very poor. Gave away a really sloppy goal. Still can't get my head round why Tucker didn't start. I do find it strange that from last year's back four we've gone in with one player in Ogilvie. Medley, I'm sure will improve over the season, but from what we saw today, I don't know if he's ready to be starting. Maybe Magoma and Tucker's the way forward after today. Other than that, it was a bit like last year. Lack a lot of creativity in midfield. Dempsey going off obviously doesn't help, and I think formation seems to be a bit of an issue at the moment. I just don't really know what one suits us. Playing a diamond in the second half, you're looking for your fullbacks to attack and get forward, and apart from the 94th minute, I can't recall Mackenzie or Ogilvie getting forward and crossing the ball into the box at all. The forwards, I thought Kindy first half was okay. Had the shot, probably should have scored. To me, he just looks like a striker that wants to play out front on his own, and I think when he plays with someone, it doesn't seem to click for me with him. I think it's either on his own or he has to be on the bench, or there has to be a smaller player brought in. Him and Oliver, I can't see in the long term for the Gills that those two working. As I said, it can only get better. As for any standout moments in the game, obviously we only really had the one shot, and towards the end, obviously Ogilvie got forward, put the ball across the box, and that was it really. There just wasn't anything to cheer about really. Highlights of players, I thought Magoma got better as the game went on. He was probably the best of a bad bunch. Graham looked decent. Probably my man of the match. Looks good when he's got the ball. Looks like he can cross the ball. So fingers crossed with the two big men up front, the goals will come. It's just a shame because I think Hull over the season will get better, and I think today was the best time to play them. And I think it's probably a point missed. I think we could have got something today, but overall, it wasn't good enough. And we go again Tuesday and back into cup action. But until next time, out the Gills.